Lace up your skates, fasten your chin strap, hit the ice, drop the puck. The Johnstown Tomahawks present Hawkey Central. Now here's your host, Troy Roberts. Welcome to Hawkey Central. Always my pleasure to host this show. Got another great one in store for you today. The boys are back in action. Had a 3-game series over the weekend. Brought an 8-game winning streak into Friday night, and they didn't let the fans down. Extended that streak to 9 games. Took one on the chin on Saturday, but then bounced right back on Sunday and started a new win streak. I'm going to talk to Coach Mike Letizia today. Going to welcome in forward Nick Bruce, who was third on the team in goals with 10, and talk to him a little bit about what's going on offensively. A very high-powered Johnstown Tomahawk team. Then, as always, going to bring in communications manager Mike Gosnell at the end of the show to talk about last weekend's promotion and any of the upcoming promotions, because there are a ton of home games coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So sit back, relax, and listen to Coach Letizia talk about his Johnstown Tomahawks.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome in Coach Mike Letizia from the Johnstown Tomahawks. Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I was telling you before I started recording that I had to be a handyman, and nobody's calling me for handyman work. I'll tell you that much. But
I don't think we could start a handyman service together. I don't think anybody's gonna call me anytime either.
Yeah, you and I would probably be in the food line at that point. Hey, I got the job done. The door works. The door opens. That's all that matters, right? That's right. What they make. Yep. That's what they make faceplates for. I can do enough around the house where I don't have to spend $200-300, because I will tell you this though, Coach. I was a little worried because it's an old door. So I happened to find the piece that had to go in there, but when I went to Lowe's and told them about the situation, they're like, your best bet is to call a locksmith, because the door was shut and the spring broke, and from the one side you couldn't get into the little latch to move it, and they're like, call a locksmith. I'm like, oh, great. There's $300-400 right there. So problem solved for $20. Got a new piece, put it in, all good to go. So
there you go.
Yeah, we'll get rocking and rolling, Coach. Before we get into the games over the weekend, though, NHL All-Star games coming up. I was watching NHL Tonight last night, and they were talking about the NHL festivities. I personally love the NHL All-Star game. I think it is not only a great weekend, but when I look at it, they've done some things to make it a little more exciting for the fans, unlike some of the other sports. But again, the game itself, I feel bad for the goalies. The goalies are getting bombarded by the best players in the NHL. But what are your thoughts? My one concern that I have with the All-Star game, and I have this with a lot of major sports that do this, I don't believe that every team should have a representative on the All-Star game. Just because you're in the league doesn't mean that you should be guaranteed somebody to represent your team at the All-Star game. When I think of an All-Star game, I think of the best players in the league. And so I don't want to say I have a problem with it. I just don't think that it's fair to take a spot away from a player that's having a great year because maybe his team has 3 or 4 players already, but we've got to put a player from the Arizona team on there because they need to have a representative, or from Vancouver. And I'm not taking anything away from those teams. I'm just saying that those teams are having great years this year, and they have to have a representative. What are your thoughts, Coach? Do you think that every team should be represented, or do you think it should just be the best players in the league at the All-Star game?
If you go on a true All-Star game, it's probably better to, you want to have the best players in the league as much as you possibly can. So I would agree with you a little bit of that. Obviously, there are some unique situations, and I guess I could see where the league is coming from and trying to get somebody on there. But it's like you said, trying to get the best players involved is the likely scenario. And I think the way they changed the format last year, which I thought was really fun to watch. They had the 3-on-3 tournament going based upon divisions, and so it becomes even trickier then to get somebody from every team, because obviously there's a lot less players per team, things like that. So it's going to be one of those things where it's probably never going to be perfect, because there's always going to be someone that's going to be upset about it. But the other part of it too is you look at different things, and sometimes players get in there just upon their name and their reputation. And, I know we talk about them all the time, the Chicago Blackhawks, for instance. I was looking at that today, and, no knock on him by any means. I mean, he's one of the best players in the world, but, you would say Jonathan Toews probably isn't having an all-star season. There's a couple of guys on the Hawks, Artemi Panarin and Hossa, who've had big-time seasons who didn't make it, and Toews made it probably just because of reputation. Now, on the biggest spotlight of the league, having an all-star game, you do probably want those guys who, have the big names and who are, some of the bigger players in the league. So it's a really tough call, and it's probably not easy. I do agree, though, there are some really good players that aren't going to make it because of that rule. So that makes it tough. But I do think the whole thing in general is great. I think the skills competition's a lot of fun to watch. That's something I think sometimes even gets overlooked. But I know when I was a young kid, my dad had season tickets to the Blackhawks. I was fortunate when I was a kid, and in 1991 they had the All-Star game at the old Chicago Stadium, and it was right during the Gulf War. So it was one of those things where it was very, very magnifying of what was going on, and it was a really cool thing to be a part of. And he had tickets for the skills competition, then tickets for the All-Star game, and my brother and I had to choose, and I went to the skills competition, he went to the game, and the skills competition was a lot of fun. So I always remember that from when I was a kid, and so it's always one thing I always want to make sure I try to watch is a skills competition, just a little kid moment that's always stuck in my head. And I think the NHL does a really good job. I can only imagine it being this year in LA, what it's going to be like.
Yeah, Coach, I'm with you. I love the All-Star weekend. I love the skills competition. I actually tune in to almost every minute of the All-Star competition, and if I can't watch it, I DVR it, and I watch it because I just love it. I love seeing the individual skills on showcase. You mentioned it. You like the new format. I love the new format. I was telling you before, I kind of feel bad for the goalies, though. I really feel bad for the goalies. I mean, I told you my story, and the people that listen every week know that I played when I was younger, and I played goalie till the ice came off the puck. And I said, when it's flying at me, that's enough. These guys are getting bombarded, Coach. But it's fun for the fans to watch 3-on-3 hockey. I enjoy it. I watched every minute of the game last year because I love the format. I love how they did it. And I think the NHL is doing it right. So, but
for sure.
I wanted to get your quick thoughts on that. This weekend, Coach, you extended the win streak to 9. Then you took one in the middle of the 3-game set, and then you started a new win streak on Sunday. So it was kind of up, down, up. So what is your quick recap of the weekend?
First night, Friday night, I thought we were playing okay. I thought Drew played really well. A little sloppy game, but we were fortunate to get the shutout win. I mean, I basically put Drew in just about 3 games straight without allowing a goal. We go back to the Fairbanks games, but he just let that one in a minute into the game and pretty much was lights out from there. I thought, we did some good things. It was a little bit of an ugly win, but we were able to outlast them and ultimately get the win. I saw a lot of good things in the game. Ugly, but got it done. And then Saturday, it was one of those things where early in the game, I thought we had a lot of pressure early, just couldn't get one to go. And, maybe we get one in there early, the game changed a little bit. And then, they found a way to put a couple in off the post and in. And, and you really can't, fault a whole lot of Drew there. I mean, he's been playing lights out, for how long now. And, a couple pucks find eyes and find a way to get in the net. And, we're trailing 3-0 after the first. And, we got a little momentum in the second. We got a shorthanded goal, which was huge, but we just couldn't fight to get that equalizer or get it closer. Just one of those games where it just didn't happen. And sometimes you got to learn from them. And no matter who you're playing against or what the situation is, you don't know how the game's going to go, so you got to learn from it. And we had a quick turnaround going into Sunday with a 3:00 game, and which is probably the best thing for us. Was a quick turnaround. After having that long streak, and you drop one, it's really unusual, and it's something that you're not used to at that time. It was about 4 weeks in a row where everything was going really well, or 4 or 5 weeks of games, and so it was a little different taste. But we kind of told the guys that, hey, we gotta get over it really fast, and turn the page as quick as possible, and literally we had to, because we had to get up the next morning and get to the rink and play again, which, like I said, was probably a big thing for us. And sometimes the hardest game when you have a long winning streak like we did, the hardest game is that one right after you lose, because it's a difference in, okay, are you going to right the ship right back, or are you going to fall, two in a row and then start scrambling a little bit? And credit to our guys. I mean, we were ready to go from the drop of the puck, and Nick Bruce, 26 seconds into the game, ripped one over the goalie's shoulder. It was an absolute laser beam, and it got the crowd going. And it was a good crowd on Sunday, given the circumstance of the Steelers game. Right at the same time, I thought it was a good turnout. Fans got into it right away. The underwear toss started going out there, and our guys got a lot of juice. And they scored a power play goal late in the period, but we dictated the whole first. I thought, come out of it 1-1 in the second period. We continued to dominate them. They didn't even get a shot on goal in the entire second period. I mean, they literally had zero. That's how much we controlled the puck and how much we hounded them. And then, in the third, we were fortunate to break through and get that second goal, and then we got the empty netter. And, again, the game closer than it was by all means. I mean, I would say we came to play for sure on Sunday to avenge that defeat on Saturday, and it's just tough because, their goalie stood tall, kept him in it as long as he possibly could. And then on our end, Vinny Perpera played Sunday. He did a great job. Sometimes in those games, you may not get a ton of shots, but the shots you get are typically quality. And he got a few grade A chances against that he stood big in, and and kept us where we needed to be as we were trying to finally claw our way to that goal, and we got it. And so again, we had our eyes set on getting a 3-game sweep this weekend. Every weekend we planned to, we prepared to win every game, and unfortunately we just got 2 of 3. But I told the guys today, we practiced earlier, and we just took one day off after having 3 and 3, and we're going to skate this week, and then we have the games coming up, or the weekend coming up, no games. And their energy, their compete level, and their intensity today at practice was one of the highest levels we've ever had. And to come out of a 3 and 3, we have some injuries, we have some guys sick, we have no games this weekend where you're kind of chomping at the bit to get at, and the intensity and the energy that we showed today in practice was very encouraging, that's for sure.
Well, Coach, you brought up something. No games this weekend, and you dropped one on Saturday, and you said you bounced back on Sunday. And moving forward, how important do you think the win was Sunday, not having a game this weekend? Because if you would have lost 2 in a row coming into this week, it could have been a lot different energy on the ice today for practice.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's one of those things where having that short turnaround was big for us to get right back at it. And again, the way we started that game Sunday, these guys were not happy about anything that happened Saturday, and they showed it. And I was really proud of them because, again, we go back to how many times we say the season's long and it has its ups and downs, and turning around like that. And again, no matter who you're playing, you know what I mean? You gotta come ready to play every day. And Nick got us going right away with his shot, and we kind of went from there. And so again, it's another week where we just got to get better as a team. We're going to compete. We're going to work on our skills. We're going to continue to dust up habits and make sure we're doing things the right way. And then, we have another a weekend off, and then we get back at it next week as we prep for New Jersey when they come to town. And, there's someone that's right behind us now. We were fortunate. We closed the gap in games played. We evened them up, but we ended up, picking up all but 2 points of where the games were. They had 5 games in hand on us. We had 5 games in hand on them, I should say, and we made up the 5 games while they were off. And, there was 10 points to be made there. We got 8 of them, which, turned out to be okay. So we pushed past them, and we got to make sure that, while we're getting prepared, we're getting ready for them coming into Johnstown, and, looking forward to those 2 games.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. New Jersey's always going to be tough for you, but like you said, it was nice to at least get 2 of 3. You always want to get 3 of 3, and it's funny you bring up Nick's name a couple times. He is our guest today, and I heard him ding in a little bit ago. Nick, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on the show. Of course, you've heard Coach talking, and how elating is it as a player? And you go in Sunday, you score a quick goal. What does that do for your confidence level the rest of the game?
Yeah, it's huge. Anytime you can get a goal early on, especially the first shift, it really helps me out, and it helps the team out. And I talked to Coach Shaq before the game, and he told me to shoot more, so I just tried to throw one on net early, and it was lucky enough to go in. And then Moving forward, I thought our line clicked really well, and our whole team was good in the first period. We took a lot of penalties, but I thought we controlled the play, and we played well. And yeah, like I said, anytime you score an early goal, it's huge.
So, as we've done this show, Nick, as we've progressed through the season, early in the season before the new year, a lot of away games, and now you have this big home stretch. As a player, how comforting is it to know that you have so many games at home? Does it make you more comfortable as a player to know that, hey, I've got games at home, so you don't have to get on the road, go travel? As a player, how do you feel?
Absolutely. It's great playing here. We got a great rink and great fans. So fun to play for them night in and night out. And just being able to have morning skates and practice all week leading up to a weekend set, knowing you don't have to deal with a bus trip or sleep in a hotel, or you can eat your pregame meals, whatever you want. So yeah, it's really comforting to play at home, and especially we got the best fans in the league, so it's great to play in front of them, and makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah, you guys definitely have a great community and a great fan base. I'm going to bring this up. I know it's underwear toss weekend with that promotion. When there's a promotion like the teddy bear toss, the underwear toss, and the fans, after that goal is scored and they start tossing the stuff on the ice, take me through a player's emotion. Coach, you can weigh in too after Nick's answer. As a coach, what is the feeling when you see all the fans taking part in that promotion?
Yeah, it's really cool. Just to see everything getting thrown on the ice, and you know, like Coach said, it's a tough draw playing on a Sunday, the same day the Steelers are. But we still had a good crowd out, and you could just see by the amount of underwear that was getting thrown onto the ice that all the fans were supporting the cause, and it's really good to see, and it's cool to see them all of them buying in, I guess, and helping out. So yeah, it's cool.
What are your thoughts, Coach?
Yeah, just like Nick said, it's one of those things where you hope you get that goal. You don't have to wait too long to get it. And I remember my first year, I was assistant coach. We were playing our teddy bear toss game against Jamestown my first year, and it was a 0-0 game into the third period. And I don't think it was the first teddy bear toss ever in Johnstown, but it was the first one for the Tomahawks. And I remember Jamestown actually scored the first goal of the game, and everybody started throwing teddy bears on the ice, and maybe didn't understand that it was supposed to be from our first goal. And it was just one of those things where once that happened, I was kind of like, oh, that's probably not a good sign for us. We might not be scoring, and we didn't, But for like Sunday, again, you take from Saturday into Sunday and an opportunity to get a little excitement into the building. To do it that quick and get everything going was great. But then the other side of it sometimes is it could be a slight momentum breaker that favors the opposition a little bit, because you get so much energy, you score, the place is going wild, everything gets out there, and then, okay, now we got to clean it up. The game slows down a little bit as far as the pace goes, so you just got to keep reminding the guys to build off, play in the right way. And credit to our guys, we did. And unfortunately, like Nick said, we got in a little penalty trouble, and just one of those things where they were penalties that had to be called. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything dirty, wasn't anything lazy, wasn't anything selfish, just the way the plays happened. And, unfortunately, they did sneak one in on the PP, but I thought our PK did a fantastic job. And, they had a 5-minute major, and then they had 2 minors. So really they had about 9 minutes of power play time, which is basically half the period. And, we did a good job. So, again, it's a great cause. Brings a lot of excitement to the place. And, again, another good crowd on Sunday, given the circumstances.
Hey, Nick, I'll get back to you in a second. Coach, you brought up something about the PK. And I know when you and I first started this show, I thought it was bad luck. And we talked about the Achilles heel, killing penalties. It has steadily gotten better over the course of the year. I'm going to knock on some wood here in my studio, and I'm going to knock on wood. But it's been steadily getting better over the course of time and games. Is that coming with confidence? Is it coming with understanding what's going on the power play? Can you put your finger on it, because it is getting better over time?
I would say, if you want to be honest, is it kind of brought back up Nick's point. You get it home, you get a little bit more comfortable, you get a little bit more ability to do different things. Whether it's in practice, whether it's off ice, whether it's chalk talk video. You get a little bit different mindset. We were always on the road all the time, and for the first few weeks of this year, first month and a half, we we barely practiced. You know what I mean? If we practiced twice a week, it was unusual just because of the way things were going and our travel and where we were playing. So, you know, there's so many things you gotta try to cover in a couple days. But the other side of it too is, you know, we knew it was hurting us, and it was one of those things where, you know, the numbers didn't lie at the time. I mean, we were barely giving up one goal even strength of game, and the PK was a struggle. And you know, credit to the players because, you know, we can diagram as much as we want, we can talk as much as we want, we can show as much video or chalk talks as we want, but the players got to execute. You know, we're obviously still going to be shorthanded throughout games. You can't get around it, but it's a mindset. The guys buckled into it, and again, we still got a long way to go. You know, you want to be in the top 5, top 10 at the minimum on both PP and PK, and we're creeping into the top 10 in the PK. I think our PP was you know, in the top 5 or so. So we want to improve on both of those and just keep getting better. You know, I think a lot of it too is being able to use everybody, you know, on your penalty kill. And there's a lot of guys that take a lot of pride in it, you know what I mean? And you know, getting as many guys as you can out there. Like, I think you know, sometimes in a 2-minute PK, you might only use, you know, 6 forwards based upon the timing of it. But, I mean, you look at it on Sunday with the 5-minute, I think everybody got on it. Everybody had a part in it, and that really builds camaraderie. You know, and guys feel that confidence to get in the kill. And it's something that you can't get it. You can't, you know, once you go in the box shorthanded, you can't do anything about it. So there's no sense in whining about it. You might as well just buckle down, kill it, and hopefully gain some momentum from your team from it.
So, Nick, I'll turn it over to you as a player. You know, you struggled early in the year on the PK, getting better over time. I mean, this is a team that is all around solid. You got great offensive weapons, got, you know, good defense, good goaltending, but the PK was struggling early in the year, and now it's getting better. So from a player standpoint, after what Coach just said, you know, what happened from the player standpoint to make this PK get better?
Honestly, going back to what Coach Mike said, I think just having this nice home stretch, being able to practice special teams and really work on our systems and get it down to a T has helped a lot for sure. And also, pretty much, we got most of our forwards kill penalties, so guys are all buying in, blocking shots, and when you can have all 12 forwards or 10 forwards or whatever it may be getting out there to kill penalties, it's huge because killing penalties is tiring. You don't want to be doing it. So yeah, I think it's a combination of the practice time for sure is huge, and just being able to throw pretty much any forward out there and knowing he's going to do the job. So yeah.
Well, I mentioned that this team has no lack of offensive scoring power. You yourself included, being able to put the ball or the puck in the back of the net. And so when you look at the ability to play on these lines and with the amount of talent offensively that you have on this team, does it allow you to take more chances? And I know, Coach, you play in the system, but, Nick, does it allow you to take some more chances, be a little bit more aggressive, knowing that you have so many guys that can put the puck in the net? This team is not focused around one guy that has to score all the goals. You have a number of guys that can score. So as a player, does it allow you to take some more chances?
Yeah, I think it does, but you got to be smart about when you're taking the chances. If we're down a goal in the third period or something, and there's an opportunity for a defenseman to jump into the play, then it's always good to see him do that. And on the other end, if a forward is the third man high and he needs to kind of make a risky pinch on the puck, you just got to read what the game is going. If we're down or up a goal, I guess it depends. But certainly, going back to what you said, having a very deep team, I think it allows from the top of the line up to the bottom everyone to take chances. But they just got to be smart about when they're doing it, I guess.
Sure. So, Nick, when you look at this team as a whole, you know, and the one thing that I've noticed talking to coach, talking to players, is for a junior hockey team, and Coach, this is going to come out as a huge compliment. I think Coach has instilled the mental aspect of this game and the thinking part of this game. So for the listeners, Nick, tell them that part of your game, the thinking game. I mean, it's not just going out there, skating around, hoping the puck comes onto your stick and you slap it in the net. I've really noticed talking to Coach and the players that you guys seem like a very mentally sound and educated hockey team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you go back to Saturday's game. It was 4-1, I think, going into the third period. I believe I'm right. And there was no panic in the room. I mean, we didn't end up getting the win, but every single guy in that locker room was confident that we were going to be able to come back. Obviously, we fell short, but it was great to bounce back on Sunday, and that goes back to mental toughness too, I think. Being able to bounce back after having our winning streak ended and a quick turnaround, just being able to come back and get a big win at home because, like you said before, we didn't want to lose 2 straight and then have 2 weeks off. That would have kind of sucked. So it was great to get that win on Sunday and bounce back, and that goes back to mental toughness starts with our coaching staff and goes right down through the lineup. I think we're a confident group. We believe in ourselves, and I think we're mentally tough for sure.
Coach, you always throw a wrinkle in my show. I always have these great questions I'm going to ask you, and then I come off the cuff. But it goes back to what I was just saying with Nick. Coach, I think you've done a great job on the mental side of it. I mean, these players can have all the skill in the world, but if they don't have it upstairs, it's not going to equate to wins or progress on the ice. And so I want you to just quickly talk about the importance of that part of the game, the mental, emotional part of the game, and what you do as a coach to get these guys to buy in. Because I'll say it again, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, I really think, Coach, that you have mentally prepared this team and these players that I talk to. They're very hockey savvy upstairs, which, you know, you combine that with the skill level, that makes for a great team.
Well, I think it goes back to identifying players that fit into that mold. You know, you obviously scout and you recruit players. You know, first thing you see is you see their skill and their talent level. You know, when you're going out there and you're watching them play, you see what they can do with and without the puck. You know, and then you get a gauge their hockey sense and their instincts and their reads to plays. And then, you know, once you get past those layers, you hope to meet the players and, you know, get inside of them a little bit and understand, you know, what type of people they are, you know, what their character is, different things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it, you know, like you said, it's not just like, hey, chase the puck around, hope you slap it in. I mean, at the same time, you know, with our club, like, you know, we play within structure. We're not a crazy, you know, 55-page playbook team by any means. We like to have some thoughts and some concepts of how we want to play, but at the same time, we feel that it's, you know, it's best to allow the guys to have a little bit of freedom within the systems and what we're trying to do. And you know, my biggest thing is, and Nick will account for it, and I've said it the last I don't know how many weeks in the show, is I just try and tell them to play the right way, and that way is the way that the natural game of hockey should be played. You know, all the little things, and then not cheating the game. You know, play the game the way it's supposed to be played night in and night out, and give the team your very best, and be a team player. You know, and if you do that, and then you have guys that have skill level and have brains and have the ability to see the game at a different level and have good instincts, you know, then you can allow their natural abilities sometimes to take over, and they're playing within how you want to play. And, you know, and our job as coaches obviously is to prepare them day in and day out, you know, and get them over things and hopefully keep them, you know, level-headed and not too high and not too low, and, you know, realize that hockey's a funny game, and you never know what to expect on a day-to-day basis. But if you do things the right way and you're a good human being and you're taking care of what you can take care of off the ice, then you can come to the ice rink with a clear head, you know, and a positive approach, knowing that there's less stress, less things to worry about, besides just playing something you love and playing a game. And you know, that's what we try to get into these guys. And it's never going to be perfect, but, you know, we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, you're doing a great job, Coach. I mean, it's not just wins and losses either. You and I have talked about it. It's developing these players so they can play at the next level, and you've been doing a heck of a job, so hats off to you, Coach. You know, I really am impressed with that part of it, you know, doing this show and talking with yourself and the players. So Nick, Coach, I'm going to change the question up. Normally I ask a question, Nick. Little fun question here at the end of the show. Would you prefer, I'm changing this up now, Coach, it's going to be 3 answers. Would you prefer to have a one-timer in the back of the net as a player, or would you prefer to have a breakaway, score 5-hole on the goaltender, or would you just prefer to have a bone-jarring check into the boards against an opponent? You got to pick one. Which of those 3 is more exhilarating for you as a player?
Definitely the one-timer. I don't think I've scored a one-timer goal in about 5 years. So I'm definitely going to go with a one-timer on that one.
Nick, that was the quickest answer ever on this show. I barely even got the question out. I barely even got it out of my mouth. But that's great. That's great. So, Nick, I'm going to ask you, I think you had chimed in and heard us talking about the All-Star game. What do you think of the new format in the NHL, the 3-on-3 play?
I love it. I think it's really exciting. It's the All-Star the All-Star game is all about skill and fun. So that really comes to the forefront when it's 3-on-3, and I think it's a ton of fun to watch, and I'm definitely going to be tuning in again this year.
Yeah, definitely. I love the new format, Coach. You love it. I really think it can maybe even bring in some casual fans because it's. I know it's not the traditional 5-on-5 hockey that we're used to, but it's fun, and the skills are on showcase. But with that said, Coach, as always, a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on. Nick, thanks for coming on the show. Good luck in 2 weeks.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Troy.
Yeah, we'll talk next week.
Always a pleasure to have Coach Letizia on the show with me. I'll tell you, every guest that we've had for the past 2 months, just professional, cordial, really enjoy talking to the players. I think Coach deserves a lot of credit for the things he does outside of the rink. You can tell just talking to the players how much they respect Coach as a person, not just as a coach. So hats off to Coach Letizia and the great job he's doing building character kids. I'll tell you, folks, if you haven't been out to the War Memorial, you got a lot of chances coming up here in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to bring in Communications Manager Mike Gosnell to talk about last weekend's promotion and all of the upcoming promotions here in the winter/spring end of the season. So sit back and listen to my conversation with Mike Gosnell.
Always great to be joined by Mike Gosnell, Communications Manager of the Johnstown Tomahawks. Mike, the boys had an up-and-down weekend. They extended a winning streak to 9 games on Friday, dropped one in the middle, and then started a new win streak, and now they have a weekend off. But how are you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing well. It's a bit, it's still cold here in Johnstown. I'm not a cold weather guy, even though I'm born and raised in Pennsylvania, and you're from Wisconsin, so we get 12 inches of snow to be considered a dusting up there.
Oh, Mike, I got to share a quick story, not to cut you off. But I had somebody the other day that I worked with when it got real cold. Somebody actually said this to me. They're like, "You're from Wisconsin. You should be used to the cold." Mike, you never get used to the cold. You don't get used to it. I tolerate the cold. Let's put it that way. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. It brought up that funny story. Like, how do you get used to the cold? Nobody gets used to cold weather. You tolerate it. We choose to live here. If it's that bad, then I told my wife, yeah, if it gets that bad, you don't like it, and we're going to complain, then let's move somewhere warm. I mean, so you tolerate it. But you were telling me before you came on that you had a day off. What have you done? 2 days off. They actually give you 2 days off. So what did you do fun?
Nothing. Lounged about and kept an eye on things. Checked my email once in a while, but just lounged and. We had fun over 3 days here, but it's good to recover some of that time.
Yeah, well, Coach and I talked. We were talking to Nick before. A pretty good weekend. I mean, they got 2 wins, got some points. Of course, they wanted 3, but I'm sure they'll take the 2. And now they have a weekend off. But there's a great promotion on Sunday, and I want you to share the success of that promotion that happened on Sunday with the listeners.
Right, we had Undy Sunday. I mean, and we realized, at early in the month this could run into the Steeler playoff game, and it just happened to do so. So it was kind of a tough one in terms of attendance, but about 1,300 fans came out, and we collected about 1,000 pairs of new and unused underwear for Children's Tumor Foundation and Cupid's Undy Run. So it was a very successful Undy Sunday again. Sunday games are always traditionally tough, and we thank our fans for coming out, placing us above the Steelers. Of course, the Steelers were already winning, I believe, 20-6 at halftime when our game started. So it was quite an afternoon, I should say. We needed to bounce back after that tough Saturday night game. Tempers flared a little bit. It was a bit of an old-time hockey at the War Memorial, but glad to get the 2 points and glad to see the fans come out and support a good cause.
Yeah, definitely. I was talking to Coach, and, you guys do a lot of great things for the community. And, it just goes top to bottom. You know what, Mike? I've spent now a couple months with you guys doing the show, and, it's evident every level of the organization is committed to the same vision, and it's great. It's a great organization. So for those listening in, if you've never been out to the War Memorial, if you've never went out to see the Johnstown Tomahawks play, now's your chance. This is a very solid team, Mike. I'm talking with Nick today and Coach. It would have been very easy to fold up after a 9-game winning streak after dropping one, but they bounced back and played a good game on Sunday. I know they've got a weekend off. Like you said, you had a couple days off right here in the beginning of the week, but getting ready for more promotions later in the season. Let the listeners know what's coming up next.
Great. Well, unfortunately, if you're missing Tomahawks hockey, you're going to have to wait another week. Our next pair of home games is starting January 20th for face-off against Cancer. We're partnering with Conemaugh Health System to bring that promotion back. It's about a 4-year run promotion. And what we do is we honor those who are battling and those who have lost the battle to cancer. Fans are encouraged to submit the names for publication in our game day program of loved ones who are currently in the battle or have unfortunately lost the battle to cancer. Those names will be published in the January 20th and 21st program. That is next week. They can find the link to sign up for their names at www.johnstowntomahawks.com under the community tab. And of course, if you need tickets, there's a link for that as well on that sign-up form. Conemaugh Hospital is also doing some special things during the game as well. And then the next pair of home games, January 27th and 28th, we have Kids Weekend, and that's going to be capped off by an appearance with the Superstars. We had them in last year. Bad timing by us. We had that big snowstorm in the middle of January. We're bringing them back. Hopefully Mother Nature will keep us in mind and take care of us in that. They're wacky, inflatable mascots. If you ever have seen them, very, very entertaining. I encourage you to YouTube the Superstars, and we're happy to have them back, and hopefully the weather holds up for us as well.
Yeah, Mike, it's all your fault that there was a big snowstorm on that day. It's all Mike's fault that there's snow in western and central Pennsylvania. But I'm going to tell you what, Mike, remember my New Year's resolution to make a Johnstown Tomahawk game. I'm 99% sure that I can make it to the cancer promotion night. I looked at it. I looked at the schedule. I wanted to go to a promotion night. I said I had some special things lined up to do with the fans. That was the game that I circled. And like I said, I'm 99% sure I'm going to make it out for that. So everybody else, it is one of those things that most people in their lifetime are affected or know of somebody close to them or a family friend that has been affected by cancer. So it's a great promotion. And head out to the War Memorial. Like Mike said, you can go to the website, johnstowntomahawks.com, get your tickets. And I know, Mike, that the ticket office and the organization are always busy selling tickets here, and you can get single-game tickets. There's a number of ways to do that, right?
Right. You can either call 1-800-745-3000 via Ticketmaster, order online at Ticketmaster.com. If you have group tickets, of course, you can come see our office. We are there until 5 during the week, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5 p.m., or you can visit the War Memorial box office Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You know what? I'm glad to hear you're coming. We're gonna alert everybody at the press box that you're coming, but it's always that 1% that comes back to bite you. So I know we're counting on that 1%.
Well, and I've learned, Mike. And as you get older, you learn that 100% is not the right answer. It's just not. But I've worked it out. I definitely want to. Like I said, I'd love to come to every game. It would be great. Unfortunately,
we'd love to have you.
The way it works out is, I try. But like I said, I've got it circled. It's actually in my calendar, and it's in my phone calendar. So that means that, like I said, this is not just a, hey, I might make it. This is, it's in my calendar as an event. And so in that 1%, though, the minute I say I'll be there, it'll be that 1%. So like I said, just going to play it by ear. It's in my phone as an event, as a calendar. Got the day planned out. Got the whole, like I said, I have to rearrange some things with my other employment. But, hey, I've got it worked out, circled event. Going to see you that day, barring anything unordinary, let's put it that way, that happens in my life. But you know what, Mike? The theme of today's show, I talked to Coach and Nick about the NHL All-Star Game coming up. You're a hockey guy. NHL All-Star Game, new format, 3-on-3. How do you like that new format the NHL went to?
Well, I was raised on the traditional, you have East versus West, or the NHL actually went World versus North America for a time there. I'm more of a traditional guy when it comes to hockey. I like the traditional, format. But either way, I look at it as an all-star game. Is there interest? On some levels, yes. But you know what? I hate to say I couldn't care less, so I'm not going to use that term. But, I really, really plan other stuff to do during that weekend.
Well, I'll tell you,
it's great. It's great to get the exposure, especially since it's in LA this year. And hockey's really turned out to be I would think, behind the Lakers as the number 2 out there in Los Angeles, and it's helped that they've had some success.
They have a good team out there, and I'm telling you, hockey. You don't associate hockey with LA very often, but the Kings have a good organization out there. I'll tell you what, Mike, I'm a little bit opposite of you. All the major sports, I do this on my other show. We always talk about the All-Star games when they come up because, a lot of times at All-Star game, a lot of the fans like yourself, like you said, you didn't want to use, you could care less, but really you find other things or you have other things to do. It doesn't take priority. There's one sport where I actually will DVR the All-Star festivities, and it's the NHL skills competition. I love watching the skills competition. So, I'm not going to sit down if I have something to do, but it will be DVR'd if I can't sit down because I think the NHL does it right for their All-Star game as far as prior leading up to the game. I never think you're going to get the game right. Those poor goaltenders, they got to be black and blue after these All-Star games because there's no defense. No defense at all.
Well, I think last year was an exception for me because the whole John Scott thing. And, with his journey, and he's not a traditional, typical NHL player, not a very, a skilled guy by any means. He's a fighter by every sense of the word. And, to see what happened with him and what that great story, you have to watch that. It's compelling television. But since there's not going to be another John Scott in the All-Star game, it's really a downer for the casual fans. I think that really captivated the hockey world. But I look to other events like the World Junior Championships we just had last week. That's something that I can't miss. I love watching that, especially with the upcoming prospects. And you see our hometown guy Philip Spoonsis, playing in that tournament. That's something you just can't miss. So I look to events like that. I mean, I see the All-Star Game as it has a purpose, and I realize that. But like I said before, I tend to have other things to do when that's on.
Yeah, I hear you, Mike. Well, I'm looking at the time. I know you're trying to enjoy your day off, getting to the end of your second day off, so I'm going to let you go. I always appreciate you coming on the show, though. I'll talk to you next week, bud.
Absolutely, and I just want to say, if fans, if you don't have anything to do next weekend, we have a good team coming in New Jersey. This is going to be a big series for us, and I think Mike and Nick would, echo my sentiments here that New Jersey is a very tough team, a big test for us. They're in third place. We're only up on them by 4 points, so it's going to be a big weekend at the War Memorial, looking to see if we can just gain some more ground on Aston and put ourselves ahead of New Jersey by even more. So always good talking to you, and we'll connect next week.
Well, folks, the music has started, the horn has sounded. That wraps up another episode of Hawkey Central. Thanks for joining me, and thank you to Coach Mike Letizia and forward Nick Bruce, along with Communications Manager Mike Gosnell, for joining the show today. Make sure you get out to the War Memorial in 2 weeks to support the Johnstown Tomahawks. Go Hawks!